This candidate shows, again, a very strong performance for this Nutripremium case. Now, he also did a very good job for the military helicopters case. You can also have access to it on PrepLounge. Now, he lays out a very good structure at the beginning. He keeps referring to it. He asks very relevant and important and strategic questions throughout the case. The conclusion is also very solid. He says in an answer first mode or way what the decision or recommendation is and what are the 3 justifying reasons then. And you're going to see that almost the only wrong thing that this candidate does here is that he does not drink any water and he keeps breastfeeding throughout the case, and that's something that might upset your interviewer. So make sure to drink water. You're going to see that I'm going to comment on this throughout the case. So let's check out how this candidate solves the Nutripremium case. Alright, so our client today is a very well-known premium nutrition food company in Europe. They made 1 billion euros revenues last year. They're based in Spain and they have a very good market share, not only in Spain but also in Portugal, France, Italy and Germany. Now, Nutripremium has 2 main lines of products. One is targeted at pregnant women who need vitamin supplements during their pregnancy, and the other one is concentrated dehydrated elements and vitamin pills for sick patients. So pregnant women and sick patients are the 2 segments that they cover. The CEO of Nutripremium thinks that the market in Europe is getting stagnant and saturated, and they want you to analyze the Chinese market. What would be the key areas you would explore to determine whether this is a good idea or not to enter the Chinese market?
Okay, it's interesting. So if I understood your if I understood the problem right, our client here is a really well-known premium nutrition company from Spain, who had 1 billion euro in revenue last year, and they basically operating in Spain, in Portugal, France, Italy, and Germany, and have a good or a great market share in this market. And the CEO is concerned that the market is getting stable and stagnant, and is considering an option to go into the Chinese market with their 2 main products: pregnant woman nutrition supplements and vitamins for dehydrated sick patients.
Yeah. So sorry, the dehydrated are the pills or the elements, the nutrition food. So the patients are just sick. Cancer or diabetes.
And these are 2 different products, right? If I
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so 2 different products for these groups, and they want to help us to figure out what are the key possible issues to consider first before going to the Chinese market, and they want us to help them to make the decisions. So if I stated correctly, do they also want us to make a go or no-go decision for them for the Chinese market?
Right, would be good. Yes.
Okay, yes. And
very well rephrased. So he recapped what the problem is all about, made sure he understood it all, and he is now going to ask some clarification questions, which are very important to do. So always try to do this, what this candidate just did. So first you rephrase the problem to make sure you got it, and then you ask any clarification questions that you might think are relevant for the solution of the case. Well done.
If you don't mind, I will clarify some points here first before I lay out my approach. I'm do I assume correctly that they want to enter with both products into the Chinese market? And
yes.
So okay, it's great. So
yes,
I will
they would enter with
both
product
products,
lines for both segments.
Okay. And as you said, we basically selling this product in Europe. Do we sell any other products already in Chinese or in the Asian area?
Good question. No, we are totally not present.
Okay, not present. Mm-hmm.
In China.
And besides,
it might sound like a joke, but it's not. This candidate here forgot to drink water during the case, or maybe before he started. So you should not forget to have a glass of water close to you and drink every now and then so that you don't need to rasp your voice like this candidate did. It's much more agreeable to have an interview where you don't hear such noises.
The issues, do they have any internal metrics or objectives they like to consider to help or which are relevant for their decision-making process, which I should keep in mind?
They are pretty much concerned with profitability and increase of revenues. So they wouldn't want to increase their revenues if their profit was not good or if they didn't have profit. Mm-hmm. But if they have both, then it would be a good thing to do.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Great. And for the time period or for the timeline regarding, do they have any specific date when they want to enter the market? Or
it should be they didn't really specify, but in a midterm. So
in a midterm basis.
Yeah,
okay, it's great.
1-2 years will be fine.
Yes. Thanks.
That's a good question.
Great. So if you don't mind, I will take a moment to lay out my approach.
Sure. Take your time.
All right. So I will suggest to focus or to look on 5 main areas to help to make this decision.
Sure.
First, I would like to analyze the attractiveness of the market and to get a feeling for if it's a good idea or if it's if there's potential in this market.
Okay.
Here I would like to see as well as the market for the products in China at the one side, and the second side, are there already competitors who are offering comparable products in the Chinese market? And the third area would be the customers. Are there customers in this market who want to use European products, who maybe would prefer European products? Is there still demand for this product, and if we go into it? And the fourth area would be, if it makes sense and the market is attractive, can we enter this market from the point of, are there any regulatory or some constraints for us in the case of as barriers to enter to the Chinese market, which we should consider? And if these 2 points are are okay, I will then look at the company itself, if we are capable to go to the Chinese market, and look, of course, at the costs and the prices and the revenues we expect to make sure that our goals, the profitability and the revenues, are also met if we go to the Chinese market. And at the end, I will focus in, if all this is positive, how should we enter the market as a fifth area, and maybe also if there are some possible alternatives which would suit our clients' idea or goal better.
Okay.
So that would be an additional point. So here, my approach with these 5 areas.
So can you repeat just quickly the five main blocks?
5 areas. First is markets in China as well, the competitors in the market, and the customers. These 3 will give me an idea about the attractiveness of the market.
Okay.
The 4th area are we allowed to enter it, the barriers in the market, and the 5th area, and the 5th area would be the company. Are we capable to enter this market? And the 6th is, depending on the outcome, how should we do it if we go for it?
Okay, got it.
This candidate has a very clear and well-structured solution or strategy for his solution. So he focused on two main blocks: the attractiveness of the market and the ability to enter this market. That's a very good framework to use for market entry cases. And he lays out really well, very clearly, what are the subcategories that he's going to analyze throughout the case. Very good.
Good. So, where do you want to start?
I would like to start to analyze the attractiveness of the market in China for our products.
Okay.
And here, I don't know, do we have information or do we have data on it, if there's already needs, or do Chinese people, especially the pregnant women in China and the sick patients, do they use already some supplements or some medicaments?
Very good question. I'll share with you using here PrepLounge's tool.
Yeah.
The table of how many or what percentage of the potential customers, meaning how many of the pregnant women use special nutrition foods in China. So you can see that both for pregnant and for sick patients, pregnant women, sick patients, it's 10% more or less.
Again, interesting how this candidate asks exactly the information that I have available to give him. Why? Because this information is exactly what he needs to understand whether the market is attractive. How many people already use such products? That's key for the analysis of the attractiveness of the market. So this candidate is spot on the information that he needs to gather.
What else can you conclude out of this?
Yeah. So out of this data, I see that there are already pregnant women as well as sick patients who use supplements or nutrition foods right now, and this segment both are growing. The pregnant woman is growing a little bit faster with 25%. Is it? I see here it's yearly increase. Is it over a sustainable time?
In the next at least 3 to 5 years, yes.
Oh, okay, so we can assume that it's in the midterm it's still growing. It's great for us. So here I see that the market is developing, and the people are currently spending 150 euros for their nutrition, the pregnant woman sector, and even more. The sick patients are spending double that amount, 300 euros a year on a customer. So maybe here the yearly increase is in number of customers, in unique customers, I guess. So
yes.
Okay.
Number of people.
All right. Do we also here others, just to clarify it, the percentage of potential customers, is it percentage of all pregnant women, or is it percentage of all women? Or
No, pregnant women.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Pregnant women,
and the
yeah.
same for the sick patients.
Yeah, only out of sick patients.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great.
Right.
So here, to get an absolute amount for these two areas,
Mm-hmm.
I need to figure out well, how many pregnant women there are in China,
Mm-hmm.
and how many sick patients are there in China.
Why don't you just calculate how many pregnant women there are, and then I'll tell you how many sick patients there are, because we, as I told you, the CEO is coming in about 20 minutes. We don't have a lot of time, unfortunately.
Yeah, here I'm thinking about basically two approaches.
Mm-hmm.
Either I could calculate how many children are born every year in China,
Mm-hmm.
based on their population and based on the development of the population.
It's always good to offer two different approaches or two different ways of calculating something. It shows the interviewer that you have alternatives, and as a consultant you should always have a plan B or C, so you should have alternatives. Now, this candidate uses the replacement concept here to calculate the number of babies, and that's something which is really useful for a lot of cases, and it's no coincidence that it's useful here. It's just because it's such an interesting and powerful concept to know. So if you haven't seen my video on the replacement concept, please look on our channel and just type replacement concept on YouTube, and you're gonna see and understand what it's all about. So it's worth the 3 minutes to watch the video.
Mm-hmm.
Or the second approach might be to look at kind of a similar country we will already have the data, for example in Spain or in Europe, and then scale it to the population of China to get a feeling for the women in China. Here is the second approach, and China is kind of a special. They have the one-child policy, as I know. It might be exactly the same like in European countries. So do we have any data for Germany or Spain? So I could
consider that each woman then is pregnant once in their lifetime, and they usually live about 70 years in China. The life expectancy is about 70 years.
Okay, great. So okay, so I will calculate it from the birth rate, or from the birth side, the number of pregnant women. So considering that half of the population in China are women,
mm-hmm.
and I would assume there are 1.2 billion people in China.
1.4.
1.4. Okay, 1.4 billion people in China. So there's 700 million women in China,
mm-hmm.
and if all of them get pregnant once in a lifetime,
mm-hmm.
so the whole population right now in China, they have in total 700 million pregnancies during if I take a screenshot, and since their life expectancy is 70 years, and I will assume that it's distributed uniformly over the 70 years,
mm-hmm.
so I will divide this 700 million by 70, and it turns out that there should be 10 million pregnancies yearly, or 10 million pregnancies yearly. So here I would say there are 10 million pregnant women in a year. I was just thinking about since a pregnancy
9 months,
for only 9 months.
But we can just approximate it. But I understand what you just reduce a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's work with 10 million then.
Okay, 10 million, great. So thinking about 10 million pregnant women, and it's 10% out of this is 1 million right now. They are using special nutrition food.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Do we have data about the sick patients? How big is the segment? Or
So those would be about 20. Let me see here my data. Would be about 2 million people.
2 million people,
Right.
right? So okay, so in terms of euros, I would just recalculate. So for the women sector is 1 million women spending 150 euros is 150 million euro. The market or the segment, and for the sick patient, it's 2 million spending 300 euro each, which turns into 600 million euro yearly.
Mm-hmm.
For itself, it's a from the volume, it's a big market, which is actually still growing on a really good pace.
So 2 million, sorry, is already only 10% of the total. So 2 million will buy the product.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
So
you actually you're right, but I didn't say that. So you kind of were right in a mistake. So
okay.
there.
So there are 20 million people, and 10% out of it.
10% of it is a 2 million. It's the final number that you got. Also,
yes. Okay.
1 million for 2 million who use the product.
Okay, great. Okay, I would like to move on to the next area and to consider how about the competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Are there one big competitor, or how is the structure of the market right now?
There are, let me share with you, 3 main players, 3 big players.
Okay. Yeah.
And the rest of the market is fragmented.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, they have the government as a shareholder in all the 3 of them, all 3 big players.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see.
Mm-hmm.
And here, just for the understanding, they are both active in both markets.
They are also in both markets, yes.
Okay, and we don't have do we have exact data for the markets, or is it similar to this overall picture?
Whether we have data
we have this kind of information about market shares in the both segments independently.
Okay, no, it's we don't have any
okay.
numbers on that.
Great.
No.
So just to this was important for me to see if someone is really active in one of the markets.
Sure.
But now I see already that there's a really big player, Giant Fu, who has almost half of the market, 45%, and they also are the one with the largest government as a shareholder. Other products here, which is interesting for me, are there free available on the market, or are they somehow do you need a receipt, or do you are they promoted by doctors or something?
If you need to get a doctor to buy them, no, you can buy them anywhere you want.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So you're right. I said the rest of the market, which is fragmented, is only 10%.
Yes,
as I said. Mm-hmm.
And okay, and the all this I guess the since the government is a shareholder in the 3 main players, I think there are Chinese players, right?
They are all Chinese players, right?
Okay, and the others, the 10% of the fragmented, are there any international companies already in the market?
Not at all. There's
okay.
still no international companies, only Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
Also a very relevant question. Now, if we want to enter a market as an international company in China, it's a very interesting or important thing to know if somebody else already managed to do so. If nobody did, then either nobody tried and we're being really pioneers, or other companies already tried it and for some reason they failed. So that's a very strategic question to ask. Very good, pointed out by this candidate.
Okay, and to make sure here, since it's, there's a lot of the market is controlled by three large companies, where government is always involved. Is government somehow interacting or taking action in this market or regarding the product, or are they just silent shareholders?
Neither nor. They are sometimes they do like give their opinion in the company's decisions, but they also have some regulatory laws, but they're not very strict so far.
Okay.
But we don't know a lot about it.
Okay, great. So
how they act.
It might be an area where I would like to look deeper in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So to sum up, I see here a market which is controlled by three major players, which are all Chinese, and with the shareholder, with government as a shareholder, which
mm-hmm.
looks like they might have a lot of power and also a lot of support on the government or regulatory side.
Mm-hmm.
So here I would like to go to the next area and to look at the Chinese customers,
mm-hmm.
just to get a feeling, since all the players are right now national, how are their awareness toward European products?
They didn't have any contact with European products in this market so far.
Okay.
But they are quite internationalized Chinese customers.
Okay.
So they buy a lot of American and European products already.
Okay, great. And since you said that for our market, people buy their products without any receipt from a doctor. Are there any preferences for these customers where they buy the nutrition products?
You mean the distribution channels that they should use?
Yeah, so are there some segments? Can we take the customers here in any way so we can get a better understanding about the customers?
We don't really have information about that.
Okay, so good. And where do they buy their products right now? Is it?
It's not. It's like grocery stores which are specialized in special food. So it's not pharmacies,
mm-hmm.
but special grocery stores.
Okay, yeah, it's great, and they're satisfied with this status quo right now.
Yeah.
So it's common in China to go to such stores.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Do we know about the customers? My idea is about if we go into this market, should we maybe enhance any further distribution channels? So that's why I want here maybe to get a feeling if they would appreciate it if we go, example, into regular supermarkets or something like that. Is it?
That might be a possibility, because the families of the sick patients and pregnant women are usually the ones who buy these products for them. So they go to supermarkets,
mm-hmm.
but this is so far not being the case for the competitors.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So okay, great. Now, for me, just to wrap up here,
mm-hmm.
is that the market itself is large enough and is still growing, but we see three major players in this market, mm-hmm. and a lot of governmental control, and which is somehow difficult. But on the other side, our customers, they are already comfortable with European products, which mm-hmm. might be an opportunity for us to bring them European products. So.
Right.
The next point, as we already talked about it, is the governmental influence. are there any barriers for us to go into the Chinese market on our own?
So what do you think barriers could be?
I think it might be regulatory barriers. Something, since it's a healthcare product, do we need any license or something like that to sell it?
Not so far, but could happen.
Okay. Are there further regulatory, maybe protective actions we might have, we should expect from the governmental side, since they are involved in this companies?
So there have been other regulatory actions by the government of China in other markets.
Okay.
So a lot of other types of products, but in this case, so far nothing has happened. Even the regulatory some regulations contrary to the as you said, that the products have to be prescribed by a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that long ago, but since the competitors lobbied against it, the government just dropped it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And maybe just last question about that. Is there any reason why there is no other international player in this market? So have any other player tried it already, and do we know about the outcome of this?
Very good question. As far as we know, or as the client knows, there has been 1 or 2 attempts.
Okay.
But they didn't manage to establish themselves because they were too small.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see. All right. So it looks as if we decide to go there, at least is it possible, and we are allowed to go into this market, which is actually good for us. And now I would like to switch on the internal side of the company and to focus about what are the revenues increases and the profits we can expect, since it's the most important decision metric for our CEO. Now we know that the market is potentially there, but it's difficult. I would like to get a feeling, how much will it cost us, or what are the cost impact if we go into the Chinese market? Mm-hmm. Of course, it varies by the way we are going into the market.
Mm-hmm. Sure. We unfortunately we only have 3 minutes for this last part of the analysis.
Yeah. So okay. How much we are making 1 billion in revenues right now? How much is our market, or is our product profitable already in Europe? So can I assume?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yes. What is the profit margin in Europe?
It's about 10%.
10%. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are making 100 million euro in profit and 1 billion in revenues.
Mm-hmm.
Can I assume that the profit margin would be similar or kind of the same in the Chinese market if we decide to go there?
Yes, the costs would be a bit lower, and the prices as well. But the costs would depend on what? The new costs. What do you think?
The main drivers for the costs would be, of course, the initial investment costs, depending on the way we are entering the market, and the recurring costs, which I'm thinking here of, the costs for the product itself, for the manufacturing, the raw materials and the labor, but as well for the distribution here and promotion. Since we are entering a completely new market, we have to expect additional spending on establishing our product.
Right. So what you said, depending on how we enter the market, there's different investment costs. So what are the possibilities here? Yeah,
so the possibilities here where I'm thinking of is either to doing it our own to enter the market greenfield, or to acquire one of the smaller players who are already in the market, or maybe even try to get a share of one of the big companies, since there there's still other shareholders here, we can either trying to get a share of their company, or to make a joint venture, maybe with a company Subco or VitaCo, who are not the market leader here, and to enter the market as a joint venture with them.
Well pointed out again. So this candidate thinks of the JV possibility. So if you want to enter a market or start a product, you have three possibilities. Number one is you do it on your own. So you start a new product or you go to a new country all alone. Number two is you work with another company in that you acquire it or you merge with it. So it's an M&A. This is a more long-term option because it usually takes 1 year or maybe more to merge two big companies or acquire a company. There's a lot to be done, audits, and a lot of regulations then apply. The third option is a JV, so joint venture. You use, the distribution channels of company A. Company B gives the capacity of their production facilities. So each company gives a bit, and in the end, 1 + 1 is 3 or 4 instead of 2. So that's a joint venture, and in many times it's the fastest option to enter a market or to start a new product. So very good point brought up by this candidate.
Unfortunately, because of Chinese regulations, that would not be possible. Joint ventures or to buy any competitor. So we would need to.
Okay. Yeah. So is there any other possibility, maybe to sell our product, to license our product to one of the smaller players without buying it?
That could be possible. We would need to.
I'm thinking
get more information.
It's for us. It's the next topic. Do we have any expertise in rolling out products into other
countries?
Areas?
We did that in Germany, Italy, and the other countries.
Yeah, but this is all European countries which are really small.
We're not outside of Europe.
India or something?
No.
Okay, so this might be a really big issue for us to look at. That there as well, the size of the market is completely different, and it's a huge population, and this is really fast growing. There are probably a lot of cultural differences, and as well as the regulatory differences. So these are issues I would recommend to look deeper at. How about the supply chain? So just before, are we capable to ship our products from Europe? Or where do we manufacture our products? Do we manufacture
in Spain?
In Spain, okay.
Right.
So are these products capable of shipping from Spain to China, or is it maybe too long for them, and that they?
It's not too long, but it would cost somewhat. Okay. It would cost some expensive amounts of money.
Yeah. So here we maybe should think about building a manufacturing base in China as well. Depends on the investment costs. So it will maybe make more sense and be easier and lower the transportation costs.
Okay, good.
So this is a further issue for us.
Okay, so the CEO is coming. Why don't you wrap up everything you learned?
Yes.
And give a recommendation then.
Yeah, I'll take a second.
Sure, take your time.
All right. So based on my first analysis, I would not recommend to enter the Chinese. Also, the market overall is big with 750 million. There are three big players here who control the market, and where the government is really involved. So it might be really hard to get a big market share without analyzing further maybe the main advantage of our product into more detail, so we can assume, okay, that we can gain market share. The smaller fragmented market is only 10%, which comes to 75 million of the market, and if I compare it to our 1 billion in revenues, it's just a small fraction of that where we can expect revenue growth. And the third point is, since we don't have any experience here in rolling out products into China, we have a much more difficult supply chain and higher costs, which will shrink our profit margins even more. And there have been already 1 or 2 failures, basically because the players were small and had a small market share. This is also something which makes the entry of the market difficult. However, I would suggest to look deeper maybe at some possibilities to move the manufacturing to China as well, and to look at the impact of the production costs, to get a better feeling into more detail about the product of us compared to the competitors, and to see if we have a nudge to gain a fast market share. And as well, I would suggest to look in maybe about other opportunities and other possibilities to expand not into the Chinese market, but maybe into Indian market or into Indonesian market, where the situation is maybe better for us, where it's more fragmented and government is not into much control into the companies.
Great. Very good. How did you like the case?
I like the case. I really hope that I didn't miss something, especially I somehow maybe have asked a little more about the difference in between the competitors and our product into the while we were talking about competitors. So I just realized it at the end that I really didn't exactly know if we have some edge on the product side.
If it's differentiated or... So basically, yeah, I think the main point that missed here... so overall, I think it was a very good solution. You thought of all the main important points. Your structure was really well laid out. So really good. You followed the steps of your structure. You always told me, now I'm going to the next point, and recapped what you learned in that point. That was really good. What I think missed mainly was how well would we be able to grab market share from those 10% that are fragmented, or from those big players. So do we have a product that would be differentiated and the Chinese market would like? However, you already kind of assessed that or gauged that by asking if they are used to buying European products.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I haven't really
specify to the case of this nutrition, special nutrition products, right? But I don't think it was a major problem. You as I said, you asked that in an indirect way. You were really spot on the part of the market, how big the market is. You estimated really quick how many pregnant women there are. Not many people are able to do that. What I think you took too long maybe to comment on or to ask is if we would have the capacity to produce the products that this new demand would buy or require. So at the end you ask, okay, so would we be able to produce those products and ship them to China?
Yeah.
So for that, of course, there's on one hand, there's whether products can be shipped if they can stay in a ship for, I don't know, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And on the other hand is, can we produce those extra products, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to make more money, if the market is stagnated in Europe, you first need to know what's our capacity occupation now. So do we have like 20% left, and still we make $1 billion? So if we have 20% left, it means that we can make still 1/4 of 1 billion. So we can still sell 250 until our capacity is full. So 250 would be more than enough to sell, depending on the price. So assuming the price is the same, would be more than enough to cover this market. So that's I think was the biggest the biggest point where you did not cover well. But as I said, we simulated an interview where we went a bit deeper in the personal fit part. So we took it took us 20 minutes roundabout to do that, and unfortunately we then have less time for the case, and that's something we also need to train, right, to practice.
That was one of the learning from my interviews, that I was running out of time.
Exactly, that's also one of the takeaways. The time management I wrote here, management. I don't know if you took a look at the clock every now and then, but I told you in the beginning that we only would have 30 minutes, I think, and actually we went a bit over time. And if your interviewer has another meeting right now, like which is my case, I have another candidate right now, then he will just rush things, and you need to keep up and to focus on the points that are the most important.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so I'll give you more feedback then with the recording of this interview.
Right. When can I maybe expect it, or when do you think you will?
That's a good point, because I'm traveling now this weekend, and so I think you won't have it before your meeting on Monday.
Okay, but before the Friday.
But before the Friday meeting, for sure.
Okay, yeah, great.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for your feedback.
Thank you, Sergey. It was really good.
Yeah.
So as I told you, taking into account the time constraints, it was really good.
Yeah.
So well done, and I'm sure you're gonna do a great job on Monday.
Thank you.
And on Friday.
What was it the right conclusion here?
It's not to enter it, but it's I had already conclusions saying otherwise. To enter, and they were also good if you can justify it. But once we finish the meeting, you can take a look at the case. I always change it a bit to put some twist to it, but you can see the written one.
All right.
See you then,
Thank
Sergey.
you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice weekend. Okay.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Keep in touch. Bye.
Bye.